world needs him to stop what's coming. And there's a child. She's the only one he'll communicate with.
I knew that they had a bond. She had nowhere to go, so I made a promise to protect her. And I think that in some way, Kong did the same. It's Godzilla.
Aloha! This is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Skull Island, just south of the Hawaiian Islands, apparently, according to the movie Godzilla vs. Kong. And, well, remember, without further ado, remember our rating scale. Shock a thumbs up. It's good to see, I recommend it. Shock a thumbs down. It's bad to see, it's junk. I don't recommend it. And for the movie Godzilla vs. Kong, currently on HBO Max and in theaters, it is a shock a thumbs up. Now, and again, this is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man, giving you the best movie reviews here on the island. And yes, last night, opening night, or opening streaming night also, on HBO Max and in theaters, I saw Godzilla vs. Kong. And if you remember my first couple of videos on, well, Godzilla King of Monsters, I gave that a shock a thumbs down. I gave Kong Skull Island a shock a thumbs up. And this one is a shock a thumbs up. Let me just say that it's nice for the studio, Universal and Legendary, to actually listen to my reviews and to say, to see what was wrong with those movies and what was right with those movies, and, to go ahead and implement them for Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, as you saw from the trailer, this involves Godzilla attacking the humans, which seems very, which the humans are very confused about after he saved them from King Ghidorah in King of Monsters, and seemed to be the world's or the Earth's protector. Now, I mentioned in my review that, he's the world's protector. He's not the humans' protector. So if the humans do something bad to the Earth, maybe he's going to get mad. But, but also more critical on that in my review of King of Monsters is that they kept cutting away from the beautiful fight and the CGI of Monster Zero, King Ghidorah, and Godzilla, or shifting, by shifting back to the kids or back to the people on the ground, and then giving their perspective as they look up at these giant things. It's like, no, everything that the Toho studio had done, basically provides you a on-level view with, the Titans or the monsters. The Titans is what they refer to them in this movie and in all of the Godzilla Kong United States movie mythos so far. This follows up on King Ghidorah and also follows up on Kong Skull Island, whereas Monarch is monitoring King Kong on Skull Island, and as a result of Godzilla, King of Monsters, they have put up a protective dome around Skull Island, thus so that Godzilla cannot sense King Kong and want to come and fight him to be the alpha titan on the Earth, because they know that, you know, King Kong is a tough guy and he's not going to bow to anybody, he says. And Godzilla is the king of monsters. So, you know, it's like, hey, I'm the king. You know, you got to bow to me. And Kong's going to say no. And then they're going to fight. And they're probably going to kill one another. So, you know, the humans don't want that. So they're at Monarch. They lay a protective dome a la Jurassic Park around the entire island. But Kong knows it's there, even though it's holographically looks like normal sky. He's constantly trying to break out of the dome. Now, outside of that, Godzilla seems to be attacking random places on the Earth, attacking human cities, and the humans don't know why. It starts with Godzilla laying waste to a company called Apex, which is right on the coast of Pensacola, Florida, and they're large into cybernetics. So now, Millie Bobby Brown is in this, but to a lesser degree than Godzilla versus Monsters, fortunately. And she comes up with the theory that Godzilla is doing this for a reason. There's something that we're not seeing. He wouldn't just normally attack people and cities for no good reason. Right away, once they said that place was a cybernetics laboratory, Apex, I knew exactly what it was. And some people had already guessed, seeing maybe Mechagodzilla in the trailers themselves, that Kong and Godzilla were going to team up against Mechagodzilla being created. But we didn't know if maybe he'd come from space. They'd introduce the aliens, as old Toho, Toho legend goes. But no, in this one, it is humans. It is kind of an offshoot of that terrorist group from King of Monsters, who had, as I predicted in my review of King of Monsters, that they had taken the pieces of Godzilla and used that to cybernetically enhance into Mechagodzilla, essentially. Now they do a little twist on it here in the movie, so it's not exactly like I was thinking. It's like, oh, they're going to use that as the skeleton or something to put the cybernetics on and thus make Mechagodzilla out of that. But no, they did not do that. They did do something else, and it involves the skull that they found of King Ghidorah, being able to create a psychic link so that humans can control that cybernetic beast without so much computer code, essentially making it seamless so that they can actually do the fighting in real time with him and control their actions, of Mechagodzilla. And the reason that the reason that Godzilla is attacking these Apex company sites is because that is when they are testing Mechagodzilla, and he senses, we're not sure what he's sensing, but he is sensing something, probably the old presence of King Ghidorah, and so he's there tearing up the place looking for this big monster, this Mechagodzilla, but they're doing it underground, so he can't really see him, he can't find him, and thus the humans thinks he's evil. They bring in Kong, they say, hey, Kong has to go ahead and fight Godzilla and protect us, which is only part of the scenario. They want to also use him to extrapolate on that tunnel theory from King of Monsters, that the Earth is hollow and that there are secret savage lands, to use a Marvel phrase, underneath the Earth. And they use Kong in an attempt to find his real home off of Skull Island. And he leads them to the center of the earth, basically, to where he and his people and maybe most of the other monsters, a la a monster island, but actually a monster hollow earth, is what this incorporates. And you see those flying skull crawlers on that area as well. And it's clear that Kong's people had been there before. Because they leave him Stormbreaker or Stormbringer, the Thor's hammer, basically the axe. Thor's axe. King Kong finds this axe, which looks awfully suspicious, like Thor's new hammer axe. And basically that gives him equal footing with Godzilla. Because this axe, he's got an edged weapon, he's able to use tools as a primate, and it's made of a meteorite substance that can actually absorb Godzilla's atomic breath and put that energy back into the chop for a more powerful chop. So it does kind of even the odds with Godzilla, because honestly, as anybody looking at those two, as I said in my trailer review, that Godzilla is still so much more massive and so much larger and tougher than King Kong. You're really rooting for the underdog for him to win in a battle against Godzilla. But with this axe, it does give him a leg up a little bit, or at least equal footing with Godzilla. Now I'm going to go into a little bit more spoilers here and say that definitively, Godzilla's the winner. He beats Kong. It goes 3 rounds, basically, throughout the movie. The first round, as you see in the trailer, pretty much, goes to Godzilla, as I stated in my trailer review. The second round, thanks to the axe, goes to King Kong. And then the third act, the third round goes back to Godzilla. So 2 out of 3, Godzilla wins. TKO, technical knockout, basically. But then, as everyone suspected, they team up together against Mechagodzilla because neither one can stand against him alone. And King Gojira actually, as the company is trying to maybe benevolently use Mechagodzilla, maybe, it is clear that, by the end, that King Gojira still has some kind of mental, whatever parts of King Gojira they're using, he is able to fight their control. And once he sees Godzilla, he goes crazy and just wants to destroy him and take back over the earth. So that's where King Kong and Godzilla must team up and in the end, spoiler, defeat Mechagodzilla, thus gaining and earning respect for one another, and thus leaving the fight, leaving one another in peace, essentially. But we know Godzilla won the fight. That could beat up Kong. So that's where it ends. Beautifully done, I believe, focusing on the monster scenes, not cutting away from the monster fight scenes, a la Pacific Rim. They've learned their lesson, apparently, of not cutting away from the action, because that's what most people are there to see, is the fight between King Kong and Godzilla and Mechagodzilla. So this is a strong shock of thumbs up. We didn't want to be focused on the kids. There is some human plot just to push and initiate these two titans into meeting one another, and a focus on a different kid, much more than Millie Bobby Brown. But fortunately, that other kid doesn't talk, so it doesn't really interrupt the flow too much. She's signed, she's deaf, she's mute, and thus we see that also that's how she can communicate with King Kong, is through sign language. So, you know, overall, I give them props for taking it into this new dimension, this new direction, and I certainly would want to see much, much more of this new monster world instead of Monster Island beneath our own world, and what other dangerous monsters there are that lie underneath, and maybe eventually get that outer space, alien action that I had suspected we would get way back with Monster Zero King Ghidorah. But that's still a future that is unwritten. This movie did very well at the box office. Over $70 million in China for a total of over $120 million for opening day. Opening for King Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus King Kong, and which puts it way above any other movie during this COVID time. This is the secret sauce that people wanted to go see and be dazzled with. So I believe Black Widow, another dazzling action piece, will do at least equally well. And we'll see what the U.S. box office will be, as our numbers are struggling to stay low but continue to rise. Theaters are mainly open. Over here, Consolidated is open. Regal not quite yet, but we'll see what happens within the coming weeks if Regal will open. And if, like I said, the numbers, if they can handle these numbers still, then maybe more and more theaters will continue to open. All right, but again, however you can, HBO Max or at the theater, go see Godzilla versus King Kong. It is a strong shock, a thumbs up, and a great movie if you love Godzilla, King Kong, or giant kaiju in general. All right, thank you so much, and aloha.